Hello guys, welcome to StudyIQ. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic of OTT platforms. Recently, the government of India has decided to regulate the online news and over-the-top platforms. So in this video, we're going to understand what are over-the-top platforms, why is the government going to regulate these OTT platforms, and how are they going to regulate. At the end of the discussion, I will give you some food for thought with a question for your preparation. So let us begin the discussion. But before that, I am your host Rahul Saigaonkar. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on the ID Rahul Sai 222. My Instagram ID is with the same name. You can ask your questions directly by sending a message. Along with it, StudyIQ has brought comprehensive prelims and mains program for you. Please download the app for more information. Let's first talk about the OTT platform, because normally there is a lot of confusion among the aspirants, the viewers, that what are OTT platforms. Whenever we talk about over-the-top platforms, everybody thinks of Netflix and Amazon Prime. But are these the only over-the-top services? When we talk about over-the-top services, OTT services, they are the new emerging business models. And why are they OTT? Because they bypass the traditional infrastructure. They do not need traditional infrastructure. They transfer the data via internet. So they use internet to give out their services. And when you talk about OTT platform, yes, you are absolutely right. Majority of them are content based, means Netflix is there, Amazon is there, Voot is there. There are so many new apps are coming, Z5, etc., ALT Balaji. But it is not just these content apps. OTT means they are service based. Very classic example would be the Uber that we use. Content and messaging services, even WhatsApp, Skype, the video calling, Google Meet, etc. All these, they use internet services. Apart from that, they also use devices like Apple TV, Roku, etc. They are also examples of over-the-top platforms. I hope now we have expanded our horizons from Netflix and Amazon, and we do understand OTT is not just one content, but it also includes services and other devices that use internet, that bypass the traditional infrastructure. Now, after understanding this, let's come back to the news, because in October 2020, Supreme Court of India had issued a notice to the central government. It had also issued the notice to Internet and Mobile Association of India, where they were discussing on the petition to regulate the OTT platforms like Netflix and Amazon. And after this particular notice, now the union government has decided that all the OTT platforms, over-the-top platforms, will be regulated by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Now you can see the news here, government to govern Netflix, Amazon Prime and other OTT platforms. But the next question is, why do we need to regulate this content? Now, if you look at a regulation in general, now, OTT is something new. From the time the internet has come, the 3G, 4G revolution has come, we do see that the internet-based services have increased a lot in India. Now, India now has the second highest number of internet subscribers, second highest number of mobile subscribers after China. So, there is a lot of internet-based content in India also. And it is highly unregulated. But if you talk about the other media platforms, we know that the traditional print media, that newspaper media, etc., it is regulated by the Press Council of India. We do have TV and other entertainment sets. TV, both news as well as entertainment, they are governed by a law, Cable Networks Regulation Act 2005. But when you talk about the online content, it does not have any regulation. And over a period of time, we have seen so many controversies which have been emerged because there are swathes of objectionable content online. You must have heard about the ALT Balaji's XXX Uncensored. During the season 1 also, there was a lot of controversy. People had filed PILs to ban this particular series from ALT Balaji platform. In season 2 also, the same thing happened. Recently on Rasbhari on Amazon Prime, also a similar thing happened. Gunjan Saxena, another movie on Netflix, was also controversial because the Indian Air Force commented things on Gunjan Saxena movie. And if you look at international news, the movie First Temptation of the Christ, it developed a huge controversy in the Christian world, because in this movie, Jesus has been portrayed as gay. That led to a lot of controversy from the hardcore Catholics in Christianity. So we do see that controversies are galore, and in India these things happen time and again. There are many series in India. For instance, another famous series called Sacred Games was also criticized because of its nudity or nude scenes in it. So controversies do come out, and some sort of regulation is indeed needed on these OTT platforms. But now the question arises, what exactly has been planned by the government? Now, if you look at the decision is very, very simple, that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is now going to regulate this, but no details have emerged as of now. That means the plan itself is questionable. It has said that we are going to regulate, but no details have emerged. Conjecture is that the ministry is going to follow the program code that is already there for the TV programs, which is governed under the Cable Television Network Regulation 1995 Act. Now, in this program code, there are certain don'ts that the channels are required to follow, and if they do not follow, they will be fined or they would be closed down. And the main body which governs this is the Electronic Media Monitoring Center, which has been entrusted to monitor the content on the television continuously, report the violations to the Inter-Ministerial Committee, where they are going to take some decisions. It is believed that a similar kind of a thing would be developed for the OTT platforms also, which will come very, very soon by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. So the plan is still in development, but let's talk about the challenges, because internet is a huge sea. Perhaps it's a bottomless ocean, and restricting internet would be a huge problem. Internet has become a part and parcel of our lives. Especially since the COVID pandemic has begun, we all see that there is a lot of promotion of online education, online platforms, e-medicine, telemedicine, all these things are developing a lot. So controlling internet would be a huge task for the government. Now let's talk about the challenges in general. Now, when I talk about the regulation, there is already a natural barrier into regulation. Now, natural barrier means in India, there is a natural barrier to the other language content. Do we follow the content from other countries? Say the content from countries that have very different or complicated languages. So a natural barrier is already there. But with the development of internet, with the development of technology, with the development of subtitles, we do see that this barrier is weakening a lot. This is again added to challenge. Now, when it comes to regulation, there can be manual regulation, which I would directly cut it off, because how can manual regulation happen? Say, for example, if there is a housewife or a homemaker, can a housewife or a homemaker or a male homemaker, can they control or can they regulate the content continuously 24/7? Manual would be very, very tough. Natural barrier regulation is diluting. So we do need to come out with some solutions, and perhaps some solutions can be technical regulation. Now, technical regulation means where you put certain limitations with respect to banning the internet, or using your routers, changing the password of your routers, IP configuration, or flagging the IP addresses, etc., from where objectionable content is coming. So that can be done, but technical regulation does need a lot of technical expertise, which is still in development. Apart from that, legal or policy route is always an option for us. But when you talk about India, is the legal or policy route sound in India? Here is the problem. We have an Information and Technology Act, which is 2 decades old. It was brought in 2000, although amended again in 2008. But in the last 2 decades, there have been huge developments in the information and communications technology. Are legal and policy routes in line with those developments? The answer would be no. So we need to develop this. Apart from that, the best solution for any kind of media would be self-regulation. Very similar to how we have the Press Council of India for print media. Some sort of self-regulation by the OTT providers would be a best solution, where they adhere to such regulation. That would be a very sound idea. So these are some of the challenges that we need to overcome, and let us see how Ministry of Information and Broadcasting will take up this challenge and bring a program or bring a plan to regulate these OTT platforms. If any development comes over this, we will bring to you as soon as possible on StudyIQ. Let me end my discussion with telling you international experience of how exactly internet is regulated. Now, if you look at the world map here, the green countries, the developed countries like US, Canada, Australia, South Africa, the European Union, they do not regulate the internet content. They have freedom of internet. But when you talk about Russia, when you talk about China, when you talk about Islamic countries, they are not free. They are highly regulated. The content is regulated. But when you talk about countries like India, it's a mixed bag. In India, we have partly regulated or partly free, mainly because of the confusion with respect to legal and other policy initiatives that we have. So let me end my discussion with a food for thought for you. Try to answer this question. Let me know in the comment section that do we need to review or revamp our IT Act 2000? 2 decades have passed. Do we need a new policy? Do we need a social media regulation policy? Do we need an internet regulation policy? Let me know about that. Apart from that, there is a huge question about data protection or data privacy in India. We do need another Data Protection Act in India. Let me know, yes or no. Because these questions or these developments have to happen with time. In the past 2 decades, the number of mobile subscribers has increased, number of internet subscribers has increased, but there has been very little development from the legal and policy angle. And if you are preparing for examination, especially UPSC Mains you're preparing, just try to attempt this question. What do you basically understand by the OTT platforms? Try to explain the meaning of OTT and critically analyze the need for self-regulation in the OTT platforms in India. That's it from my side on this part of discussion. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.